Welcome to the Efestival Ideas hosted by Vibewire. This interview is with ARIA award-winning artist Gotye about his life as an independent artist in Australia. Join us on our forums at vibewire.net/efestival.
What do you see as the pros and cons of being an independent musician?
Well, the pros are greater control over your own creative and financial destiny. Yeah, definitely, and a greater control over the kind of timeline and sort of, goal structure you want to use. You're not kind of instantly locked into other people's interests and other people's timelines, budgets, expectations, etc. And I think that can be really positive because it allows you a chance to develop what you do and hopefully get it to a point where kind of you're expressing something you feel comfortable with and you're happy with, and you deal with a lot of issues that inevitably would come up if you were to, say, have a lot of people helping you or sign with a label, or have a lot of people investing in you and expecting a lot of things from you in order that that they can have commercial success from your talents in the future. It's just a chance for you to kind of sort out issues in your own head, your own creative difficulties and stresses and tensions, and work through all of that. And if you can take it to the point where you eventually get a chance to release a record, I guess, I think you'll have worked through a lot of challenges that just make you a better, probably a better person, apart from just a better musician, business person, music industry, type. Have
you come across any cons? What do you see as some of the not so great things about being an independent musician?
Well, it can definitely be frustrating. Any kind of greater control you have is often tempered by the fact that you can feel quite alone. You feel like you don't have as many people, maybe you don't have as great a support network. It's a bit more kind of, little you against a big industry or a big wall. There's lots of challenges, I guess. So, yeah, you can feel quite kind of lost at times, and without the assistance that you might otherwise have if you more quickly locked into, a label structure, publisher, managers, the industry, etc. And that's, that's pretty significant. I mean, that's on all levels. That's on the level of, say, creatively, if you're kind of struggling to find musicians to work with or to help you with musical parts, mixing, mastering, all those things that labels and managers and the industry can hook you up with to kind of get, a song, an album, a release over the line. So it takes a lot more time and dedication, effort, overcoming those challenges, trying to find people that you're really inspired to work with, and saving the money to be able to work with those people, because, usually lack of money is a definite barrier. And that's definitely one of those kind of prizes that the industry can offer a young musician in exchange for relinquishing their independence or their greater control over their own music. So I guess, and as a result of those challenges, I think it can just take a lot more time. So I think you need to be probably a lot more patient. You need to really believe in what you're doing and really believe in the long-term value of putting that effort in, and really believe that you are kind of everything you're learning that you might otherwise leave to another person, a manager, label, publisher, etc., promo person, that as you learn to do those things for yourself, that you're only setting yourself up to be a better, music industry operative. I think that way because, I might not be a musician all my life, and I count myself very lucky to be able to have a chance to do it in a more, professional kind of sense, I guess. And so, but I realise that a lot of the things I've learned along the way being independent mean that I probably could maybe be a music manager one day, or I could run my own label, or I could look at other things in the music industry that I could do. All sorts of things that I guess you wouldn't get the experience and just that kind of learning by mistakes kind of apprenticeship if you just kind of were a 19-year-old who signed yourself to a label and had everything done for you from the start.
So, what do you think were some of the best business decisions that you've made in regards to your career? What are some of the good business decisions that you've made?
I don't know. Sometimes decisions can turn out to seem good, and they weren't part of some grand master plan. So, it's a peculiar combination, I think, of timing, luck, persistence, talent, all those things that kind of all work together to make something work. Persistence is definitely a big one, because I've had a number of, if I can think to answer your question more specifically, of a major decision that I kind of have made any number of times over the last 5 years is just keep going with it, as opposed to going, this is all getting a bit hard or frustrating or not quite matching up with the dream of being, that kind of dream of, wouldn't it be amazing to be an artist and be a musician and do that for a living? Any number of points where I could have gone, nah, this isn't it, this is too hard, forget it, I'll go work in a day job. That's a big part of it, I think. So that persistence is you have to be pretty tenacious, I think, to kind of keep going and keep kind of, I don't know, working through the topography of your potential career that just changes like with every few months. You find you imagine it's going to be one thing, and you find it's something quite different. You just kind of need to reevaluate why you're doing it. You know, your working creative landscape, I guess.
Yeah,
But,
ride the wave a bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
kind of sort out where you stand. You know, keep reevaluating where you stand and where you're going, and how to kind of deal with the current challenges, what that means for where you are in your career. Because I think you can probably get to a point where a lot of people would assume you're doing, that things would be a certain way, that you might be doing really well financially, you might be doing really well creatively, you must be really happy about this, and it can often, not really be the case. You could be as depressed as you could be, and you might be facing some of the biggest kind of budgeting challenges of, making your music work so that you can keep doing it at the time you might be the most successful in your career. So that's an interesting one. So I think the persistence is a really big one. And the other one is just to, I would say, my personal experience, not to go too far beyond your means. You have to really approach what you do with a belief that it's going to work. I kind of always, I always felt like I was a bit of a fence sitter. I was always a bit like I had this little maybe kernel of belief that wouldn't die. That'd be like, no matter what happens, I've got this feeling that if I keep working at this, it will work regardless in some way. It'll fall into place and it'll work if I just keep doing it. Then there was also another part of me that was really tempered, that was kind of like, just remember to stay satisfied with the fact that tomorrow you might give away music and never do it again, and try not to feel like that would be a failure. Like to just kind of know that if it all just kind of did feel a bit too hard and you did make a decision to give it away, that you haven't kind of invested so much of your life and money and energy into it that it's kind of all or nothing. So I don't know. I guess it's a balance, as with anything in life. You need to take chances and set goals, but you need to do that realistically. So I don't think I ever went really far like into debt or anything to get my music out there. I always to take the wait and see, sort of stick around and save till I have the money to spend on things type of approach.
Sorry, can I just ask you a quick question? Did you ever apply for grants or anything from the government to help you with your career, or was it all sort of self-made, self-funded kind of venture?
With the Gotye stuff, I did apply for some grants. I was never successful. The Basics applied for a touring grant, which we did get in 2005, which was great, and that allowed us to travel around the country in a bus and do sort of 3 months worth of touring. And we've applied for some overseas grants. Maybe they'll come through soon. But yeah, so I've had some unsuccessful grants and also successful ones.
Do you think Australia provides a good environment for young creatives in that sense?
I think there's plenty of opportunities. Yeah, you just musicians are some of the latest people around. Can be incredibly talented, but also and persistent on the one level, but just unable to get off their ass to do something that could truly give them a platform to take their music further. And so that's why it's obvious why people musicians often very much seek help really quickly, like for people to take care of their business for them, take care of their financials, their tax, their booking, their grant writing. So I don't know. I think you kind of need to just try to know yourself. Like if you know you procrastinate so much that you're never going to ever get a good grant proposal together, but that if you put one together, there's a good likelihood you might get that grant, and that would mean, that would equal the budget for your next record, as opposed to stressing out or scrounging money together for the next year to do it. You just got to work out, how to do that. Do you write it yourself? Do you get off your butt and do it? Or do you maybe find somebody and pay them a small fee or a commission on the possible successful grant to write it for you? That's an option. So you just need to kind of know yourself and know how to get the most out of what you can do, know what you're prepared to do, and know what you're good at, and then find people to help you to do the other things.
I'm just wondering, there's a lot of stories about really good Australian musicians heading overseas, moving to greener pastures, US and Europe. What are your thoughts? I mean, what does Australia provide that that keeps you here? What's the lesson there for Australia?
As with anybody, growing up a national of a certain country like you, it's really hard sometimes to just move away from family and friends and your whole support network. So it's a real big move. You have to really, love your music and believe in your career and just believe and truly excited by that possibility of as you say, potentially greener pastures to just shack up and move somewhere else. Because it's hard. You need to work out things like your working visas, and you're disconnected from any even small support network you might have created, and that can be really significant. That's definitely been significant